Hello, this is Matt Feingold. This is my Milestone 1 demo for Game Engine 2. I thought I'd start off just by showing my scene, demoing some of my stuff. This is the default camera we're looking through. This one has the Frustum wireframe, which is what we're seeing right in front of us. I've got all of the models required. I have the Geth Trooper, the Astro Boy, the War Bear, the Buggy, and the Space Frigate. I've got a bunch of instances here, different rotations, and the War Bear has swappable textures between the Polar Bear and the Grizzly Bear. I have my bounding spheres. Right now they're all set to toggle on and off by one button, but you could do them individually. So here they are. They will be yellow when they're within my camera frustum. So if I switch to my alternate camera here, we can look at this default camera's frustum where we were looking at before, and the Geth bounding sphere is yellow, and the rest of them are red because they're not visible within there getting cold. If we look at, if we move just out of view of the Geth, you can see that it's turned red, the bounding sphere. If we go just in there, we can see from here it's yellow, and also out here it's yellow. This camera that I'm driving around right now, the one with the wireframe, has a much shorter far plane than the other one that I'm viewing from, just to demonstrate the culling there. So I'll take a look at the Geth again, and I'll kind of take it out of the far plane here. Alright, I think it should be outside. Yeah, so here's the far plane. It's getting cold, we can see that there. So something cool I wanted to highlight is from my research, I have the Buggy. This one is with the texture with the single point light shading that I'm using to render Astro Boy and Geth and all my other ones. It's just a basic lighting and the texture, but my my other instance of the Buggy here has Blend-Fong shading and normal mapping, so you can see the little, I guess, like what looks like grooves in the metal on the specular part of the lighting as we go through here, although it didn't, I guess the specular map didn't really account for the wheels very well, but I'm using a normal map and a specular map to do the shading on this one, so I thought that was pretty cool to show off. I also have my camera kind of doing like first-person shooter controls, so when you go look down and you rotate, you're rotating around the worlds up, so you don't accidentally roll when you're like moving around and rotating. And then I have speed up on shift, like a sprint button almost, and you can just fly through like this with the camera. And I have space for up and control for down, if you want to do that. And even if you're looking straight down, space will bring you up. It'll always bring you up regardless of your orientation. Control will always bring you down regardless of your orientation. Anyway, I think that's all I needed to show here in this demo. I have the converter demo to show, I guess. All of these assets are being loaded up from this asset loader class that I have, and I pass in the spew file. This number here is for, I'm doing MD5 hashing, and instead of doing string length, I'm passing in the length. It's probably, I originally did it for efficiency so I didn't have to count string during runtime, but I have it defaulted. So if it's at 0, it'll do string length. Anyway, so I'm loading them here with these files. So I have a demo set up for how I do that. So I have my vodka, LIU, and model converter exe files in here, along with the library file for the SDK. And so I need to, I made this batch file, or not batch file, Python file, that will basically do these system calls for the ones that I want. And basically what I'm doing here is if I leave the output, the file output name blank, it'll default to this initial base file name .spu. I have this -t here, which basically overloads the texture name. So if the FBX file has baked in some texture file path that is actually incorrect now, you can kind of overload it and put in whatever texture you want there. So if I run this, we should see the SPU files popping up here. And here's all of the printing that goes on for all of these, and I'll open this up so you can see the Space Frigate went already. Astro Boy I think should be next. Yeah, there's Astro Boy, then the buggy. It'll come up here. There it is. Right now in my converter, I don't actually have it outputting multiple textures into the output SPU file. I've been meaning to add that, but I wanted to just get this video out. In the meantime, when I need multiple textures, for example, the polar bear for the war bear, or for my normal mapping for the buggy, I'm just loading them in right now by hand here. Ignore these are from some other demo things I was testing, but I am just putting these in by hand right now, but it's just a small refactor to be able to put in multiple textures into there, because I have my asset struct here holding a holding an array of textures, of these texture info structs, which just give the ID that it loaded the texture, or the ID of the texture that it got saved as in the texture manager, and also its use type. So this enum is copied from the FBX SDK, and it'll tell me if the texture is used for just sort of like, this is standard is for the diffuse. This is the default initialization, but we have standard, shadow map, light map, various reflections, and the normal map. So I know like when to use each of these, and if I'm doing, for example, my normal mapping graphics object, once I put in the multiple textures allowed in my SPU file, I'll be able to kind of programmatically just have it automatically link up to which is the normal map, which is the specular map, which is the diffuse. Anyway, but that's just a small refactor coming in soon. And so yeah, that's should see all these here. The Astro Boy, the buggy, Geth, Space Frigate, Warbear. These are all the same files that that I have in my engine already from the demo I did at the beginning of the video, and for now they're all in the source here. Anyway, that is the end of my video. I don't think I forgot to mention anything else. So, yeah. Okay, thanks.